Okay, hello and welcome everyone to today's webinar, Unlocking Sales Success with AI. My name is Kaydin Carlsen. I am a Senior Account Manager here at SmugMug, and I'm joined today by two of my favorite colleagues, Seth Salpan and Oliver Williams. These two legends will be supporting throughout today's session. They will be answering questions, sharing links, and making sure that everything runs smoothly. Between us, we've spent decades helping photographers grow their businesses. Today's webinar will give you new tools and knowledge on how to improve your business and help it grow using AI. Today, we're taking a look at your SmugMug sales data, how to uncover powerful insights using AI tools like ChatGPT and Claude. Now, we're going to keep this practical and focused. You don't need to be a data scientist to follow along, and there's no coding experience required. Now, let's start with the elephant in the room. The truth is, most photographers aren't looking at their sales data all that often. And if they are, it's the simple stuff like how much profit has been paid, how much are they waiting for to be paid, and the total. Now, we know it's not because you don't care, it's because CSV files can be messy, spreadsheets can be intimidating, and figuring out what matters takes time and sometimes a real expertise. But that is exactly where modern AI tools can help. Today's tools, when used correctly, can read your SmugMug sales history CSVs, interpret the columns, and surface valuable insights like who your best customers are, what products drive the most profit, what events made you the most profit, and when your sales spike, or perhaps when they don't, and so much more. In short, the kind of business intelligence that used to take hours, perhaps a background in accounting or data analysis, can now take minutes with the help of AI tools. Today, I'll show you exactly how to extract insights and value from your SmugMug sales history. So here's our roadmap and where we're headed over today's presentation. We'll start with a quick intro to the AI tools we're using. These will be ChatGPT and Claude. We'll discuss the differences between the two, but more specifically, when you might consider using one over the other. Then we'll show you where you'll find the summary and detailed CSVs in your SmugMug sales history, and we'll break down what's actually inside those SmugMug CSV files. We'll walk you through the framework I use and recommend and provide you with several powerful handout documents you can save and should use when you work with AI tools. Then we'll transition to a live demo where we'll use the provided handouts along with provided example prompts, and with ChatGPT and Claude, we'll analyze some sales history data. Finally, we'll wrap up with a little Q&A. So let's start off with some tools. AI can feel like a black box. So let me quickly introduce you to the two tools we'll be using today, and those are ChatGPT and Claude. Both tools let you upload files, ask questions, and get back surprisingly smart, well-organized answers. Something to note, the free versions of these tools don't handle CSVs well. They can do some basic tasks, but the type of analysis we're doing is computationally heavy. So if you want to follow along after the webinar, it's recommended that you subscribe to a paid plan. Now, both ChatGPT and Claude have $20 a month plans that are fully capable of working with SmugMug data, not to mention all the other features and tools you gain access to when you become a paid subscriber. Now, I want to acknowledge there are plenty of other AI platforms with new tools popping up every single day. You're welcome to take what you learn here today and apply it to those other tools. But for our purposes and this presentation, we're concentrating only on ChatGPT and Claude Pro. Now, it's also crucial to know and understand that AI tools can occasionally produce inaccurate or fabricated information. In my experience, These errors are most prevalent when queries lack specificity and context. By providing clear instructions, leveraging knowledge documents, and implementing structured prompting techniques, you can significantly reduce the probability of errors or hallucinations. The key is to create a well-defined framework that guides the AI's analysis and ensures more reliable, actionable insights. Now that we've established a strategic approach to minimizing AI errors, let's dive into the tools that will power your data analysis. Understanding the strengths and limitations of each platform is crucial for selecting the right AI companion for your photography business analysis workflow. Let's start with ChatGPT. ChatGPT excels when working with large files or extensive data sets. Its memory capacity is massive, supporting up to 1 million tokens. In AI terminology, a token represents a chunk of text, roughly equivalent to about 4 characters of English text. But to put this into perspective, 1 million tokens equals about 750,000 words or 4 million characters. ChatGPT also has image and video generation tools. Many of the slides in this presentation were created with the help of ChatGPT's image generation abilities. ChatGPT also has projects, which can be thought of as folders containing subject-specific chats and saved special instructions and knowledge, something you might consider creating if you choose to use ChatGPT. ChatGPT also has an ecosystem of GPTs. These are custom versions of ChatGPT you can create, share, and search for from other users and companies and services. And just last week, ChatGPT made agents available to their $20 a month plan. As of this writing and presentation, agents, image generation, and the public GPT ecosystem are all unique to ChatGPT and not features Claude has available. Claude's Pro plan, also priced at $20 a month, specializes in analysis depth and presentation quality. Claude's context window supports around 500,000 tokens, which is substantial for most photography business analysis needs. Where Claude truly shines is in its unique artifacts feature that creates live, interactive documents, charts, and even functional web applications that update in real time as you work with your data. When I need polished, professional documents with interactive elements, I use Claude. It's perfect for creating well-formatted presentations, clean, organized summaries with real-time data visualization, and anything that needs that professional document quality with built-in interactivity. When I need to analyze absolutely massive data sets or require extended functionality like image generation, I use ChatGPT. It handles the largest data files beautifully, maintains detailed memory through extensive long conversations, and offers additional features like image generation, access to custom GPTs, and a voice interaction mode when I'm on the go and using my phone. Now, you don't need both platforms. Choose the one that feels more comfortable for your workflow. However, if you've been with SmugMug for many years, or you're a high volume photographer with thousands of orders throughout your tenure, ChatGPT's larger context window will handle your most extensive data sets a bit more effectively. Next, let me show you how and where you'll find the CSVs you'll use with these AI tools. Now, when you enter your SmugMug sales history, you'll see sales stats filtered on the right. We're showing this in orange along with the filter options at the top. By default, this will appear identical or nearly identical as the sales stats all-time table directly below, shown in blue. This is because upon entering the sales history page, the default filter settings are set to all time. Thus, both tables appear the same. Below each table, there are two green links, one representing the detailed CSV and the other representing the summary CSV. If you're wanting to do an analysis on your all-time sales data, use the links under the sales stats all-time shown in blue. If you want to filter your data to show only specific items or break down by specific time period, use the filters at the top, then select Apply, and then download the CSVs using the green links under the Sales Stats Filtered shown in orange. Now you can filter by order status, showing all orders, only orders you've been paid for, or only orders you've not yet been paid for. You can sort by time period, including all time, today, this year, this quarter, this month, yesterday, last quarter, last year, and last month. You can sort by date or profit as well. And choose how many results you want to show per page. The default is 10, the maximum is 100, though the page results or the results per page won't affect the actual CSV you download. Again, remember, when you first enter the sales history, the filters always default to show both paid and unpaid orders from all time sorted by date and showing 10 of them at a time on the page. The sales stats filtered table only updates when you create and apply a custom filter. Otherwise, it will be the same as the all-time table shown below. All right, now that you understand how to navigate and filter the sales data, let's talk about the actual data you'll be working with. When viewing your SmugMug sales history, you can download two different types of CSVs, and choosing the right one depends on what kind of analysis you want to perform. The detailed CSV breaks each order down at the item level. It will include each print, each download, any fees and/or coupons, and it will also include the file name for the images that were sold, the gallery title, and the gallery hierarchy, which is the folder structure, and more, but lacks customer information like name, email, and address. If you're looking to understand what products are selling best, where your margins sit, or product performance analysis, download and work with the detailed CSV. The summary CSV includes your customer information, including their name, email, billing, and shipping addresses. The summary CSV also lists each order line by line versus the detailed CSV, where each item in the order is listed. If you're looking to identify your best and repeat customers, discover which cities generate the most revenue, or analyze anything related to the people and the places placing orders, download and analyze the summary CSV. It's also worth noting that for legal and compliance reasons, your customers' personal information, including their name, email, and address and phone, will be removed from orders that are older than 6 years. However, the CSV will retain city, zip, and state along with some of those other details. So at this point, you've got your SmugMug sales CSV. You know where to find it, how to filter it, and which version, either the summary or the detailed, works best for your question. But this is where most folks stop, not because they don't care, but because once the spreadsheet opens up, the data floods in. It's overwhelming. You're staring at thousands of rows, dozens of columns, unfamiliar terms like maybe base price or charges, and you're left wondering, where do I even start? And that's where AI becomes the unlock. But here's the thing. AI only works well if you give it the right information and clear instructions up front. So the next step, the step that unlocks everything, is setting AI up for success. Here's the truth about AI. Models like ChatGPT and Claude, they're not magic, they're not psychic, they're pattern matchers. They rely entirely on the context you give them. If you just upload a CSV and ask, "Can you analyze this?" you're rolling the dice. The AI might guess what the columns mean. It might group things incorrectly. It might leave out refunds, charges, or adjustments that directly impact your profit. That's why context matters so much. And that's where knowledge documents come in. A knowledge doc is a short markdown or PDF file you include with your CSV when prompting the AI. Think of it like an instruction manual that says, here's what this data is, here's how it works, and here's what to watch out for. It covers what each column means, how to treat things like profit, fees, and discounts, how to group rows by order ID, which values are optional, which are essential, and which need to be summed. With this document in place, the AI understands your data like someone who's been managing SmugMug analytics for years. Without it, the AI might guess, and in business analysis, guessing is how you get misleading results. So we've written these documents for you. We have one for the summary CSV and one for the detailed CSV. There's a third document available as well. It's a prompt guide with real examples you can copy and paste and adapt to your own questions. All of these are going to be linked in the Zoom chat and will be also included in your follow-up email. They'll also be published on our AI Help Center and in the Notion doc you'll receive at the end of the session. Seth, if you wouldn't mind posting that into the chat, that'd be great. Now, if you're brand new to sales reports and want a beginner-friendly crash course in how your CSV files are structured, we've also linked to the official SmugMug Help Center article that walks you through it. Seth, post that one in there too, if you wouldn't mind. All right, so let us recap what we have now, what you have now. Got a CSV file. Let's call that the ingredient. There's a knowledge document. We'll call that the recipe. Now there's one last thing you need. It's how to ask your question. And that's where the prompt formula comes in. And I'm going to show you exactly how to use that. So this is the part that ties it all together. You've got the CSV, you've got the knowledge doc, and now you need to tell the AI exactly what you want it to do. That's where this comes in, the prompt formula. This is a 4-part structure that I use every time I run an analysis. It works consistently across both ChatGPT and Claude, and it makes sure the AI doesn't just understand your data, but actually gives you something useful back. The first part is the SmugMug context. Always start by setting the scene. Tell the AI in plain terms that this is a SmugMug sales CSV, and you're trying to analyze photography orders. Then let it know that you've attached a knowledge document that explains the structure of the file and how to calculate things like profit. For example, this is SmugMug sales data from my photography business. I've attached a knowledge document that explains how to read and interpret the CSV. Part 2, the file type. Next, you want to call out which files or files you've attached. Is it the summary CSV? Is it the detailed CSV? Is it both? This matters because the structure of each file is different. The summary CSV is 1 row per order, while the detailed CSV might have multiple rows per order and include extra line item details. Letting the AI know which it's working with helps it apply the right logic. Part 3, the business question. This is where most people get too vague. They say things like, analyze this, or tell me what you see. These won't cut it. The more specific you are, the better the results. Few examples. What are my top 10 SKUs by profit this year? Which galleries had the highest average order value last quarter? Compare my top customers by total spend over the past 3 years. You want to think like a CEO here. What decisions are you trying to make, and what data would help you get there? Part 4, the output formula. Finally, tell the AI how you want the result to be delivered. Do you want a markdown table, a bullet point list, a visual chart, a paragraph summary? This keeps the output clean, useful, and easy to plug into a report, email, or other document. And that's it. The prompting formula is just SmugMug context, file type, business question, and output format. Now, when you give the AI all 4 of these, you'll get high quality answers without having to clarify, restate, or go back and forth. And now that you've seen the formula, let's make it real. In the next section, I'm going to walk you through a few live examples using both the summary CSV and the detailed CSV, and I'll show you exactly how the same prompt plays out in both ChatGPT and in Claude. Now that you've seen the formula, though, we're gonna make this real. I'm gonna walk you through a few live examples using actual SmugMug sales data, just like the kind you'd export from your account. That said, the data I'm using is synthetic. The personal information for the people you see is not real, but the order details are real. So for each example, I'll upload the right CSV, either the summary or the detailed, attach the matching knowledge document, use the 4-part prompt formula we just covered, and show you the results in both ChatGPT as well as in Claude. I'll do my best to call out when each tool shines and where where one might give you a better formatting or context than the other, depending on what you're asking. But first, just a quick pro tip that's helped me catch mistakes early on. When you're working with AI and numbers, especially for the first couple of times, it's a great habit to check the math. For example, I'll often start with a prompt like, what was my total profit for 2024? Then I'll open the CSV, highlight the profit column in Google Sheets or Excel, and manually sum that column myself. If the AI has the same total, I'm confident that it's calculating things correctly. If not, I'll tell the AI what number I got and ask it to recheck the logic. Now, in most cases, if you've attached the correct knowledge document, it'll spot the mistake and fix it automatically. This simple sanity check helps build trust in the results and make sure that the AI isn't just guessing when it shouldn't be. All right, I'm going to move on over to share my screen. Seth, Oliver, can you guys confirm that you can see the...
Looks good.
Okay, great. Now, folks, what we learned yesterday when we were giving this presentation is sometimes when I'm typing things in, it may not show up quite as quickly as over the Zoom as for you. But I'm going to do my best to pause and go through it. I want to start off by just showing you the files themselves that we're going to be working with. For the sake of this presentation and the size of files and everything, I'm working with 1 year's worth of data. This is 2024 data. We can see there's the summary CSV right here, the synthetic one that we have. So this is what your summary CSVs are going to look like. There's all the customer information. We slide to the side. We see there's all these rows of data. And then here is the detailed CSV. Notice the name column that has our products here and different types of things. And again, we've got, hierarchy and gallery titles and file names and all of that stuff. So those are what we're going to work with when you see me drag files in. These are those same files. I have ChatGPT in one tab. I have Claude in another. Now I'm going to start with Claude because Claude tends to take a little bit longer to process than ChatGPT. So we'll kick this one off first. Let me first copy the prompt and let's go through it. So the prompt is, this is SmugMug sales data from my photography business. I've attached a knowledge document that explains how to interpret the detailed CSV. Please identify my top 5 products for a total net profit in 2024. Start with a brief summary paragraph explaining any notable patterns, then list each product in ranked order, use simple full sentence bullets, include product name, total profit, and one sentence describing its performance. So there's the prompt. Next, I'm going to grab the detailed CSV, and I'm dragging this in from my desktop. You would have downloaded this from your sales history and probably had it in your downloads folder. There's the file, and then here's the knowledge document, and those two are brought in. So I'm going to click go on that and let this thing kick off, and let's duplicate that with ChatGPT. So I'm going to copy the prompt, paste it in. We'll bring over the CSV itself, and then we'll bring over the knowledge document. Those are both done uploading, and we'll kick it off. So as this gets kicked off and starts, we can, just let it roll. You are able to click on the analyzing and see the actual coding and math that the AI tool is performing. And we can see ChatGPT's already done right here. And there's our top 5 products, right? It's listing it out. We can see that photo downloads high reses at 4 megapixels for nearly $7,000 is what the top product was. Then we have 4K photo downloads at $4,000. These are packages, so 10 4 megapixel images for $50. That accounted for nearly $2,000 in profit. Then we have 10 4K images for $100, accounted for about $400. For $100, accounted for about $400 in profit, and then some 5x7 lusters that popped in here. So there's ChatGPT's all done. Let's click over to Claude, see where it's working. And you'll find, as I said earlier in the presentation, Claude is really, really great. It does move a little slower, but what I love about Claude is it tends to take some liberties and surface data that you might not have asked for that you still find valuable. So I think that's part of the reason why it takes a little bit longer, is it's really digging in a lot deeper. If you know how to read JavaScript and Python code, you can go ahead and see what it's doing, how it's processing these things. This should wrap up here in just a second, and we'll see where Claude came in. Let's see here. And also, if you see these, don't over-index on these too much. Sometimes the AI, is running its own analysis. It finds a little error, and then it'll reprocess and get to the point so that it has confidence in the answer that it's about to give you. Here we go. We're at the end now. So based on my analysis, we run through, and we're seeing those same numbers, right? Photo downloads were just almost $7,000. Notice that it added how many transactions that took place. We have 4K downloads. There's the $4,000, the number of transactions, but it's also giving us average profit per sale on those packages. So, those are the exact same values we got when we were looking at ChatGPT. Now we can take this a step further. Now that we've kicked this off, we can do something like, build a bar chart showing the products, right? So now we can ask it to take that data and build me something more visual. Let's do the same thing with Claude. We'll see what it does when we do that. And there's, ChatGPT, pretty quick, pulled it in. We've got our nice chart here to show us the dollar value, and then each on the y-axis we have the products themselves, and it's ranking down all the way along, which is really powerful. This is powerful insights that you can know that these are your most profitable products that have sold in the last year. Let's pop on over to here, and there we go. This is the artifacts feature that I mentioned earlier. We can see it created this little artifact right here when we click on it, and it split the page in half. And these are way more interactive. And that's, again, one of the aspects of Claude that I really enjoy, is that it builds these. So here we are. That's it. That's the first example I wanted to give you using both Claude and ChatGPT. Let's reset this reset both of these. And starting with Claude, we'll kick off for the next one. And this one, we're going to use the summary CSV. So I'll copy the prompt over. And this is SmugMug sales data from my photography business. I've attached a knowledge document that explains how to interpret the summary CSV. Please calculate the total estimated profit and order count for each season of the year using the standard seasonal groupings. And we've included for winter, we got December, January, February. Spring is March, April, May. Summer is June, July, August. And then fall is September, October, November. Return the result as a table with columns for season, total profit, and total order count. So now we go overhead and we drag over the actual CSV itself. And here's our knowledge document. And we'll process this, let it kick off. Let's go do the same thing with ChatGPT. So I'll copy the prompt, paste it in, grab our CSV, grab our knowledge document, make sure that they're all fully uploaded, hit go, and let the races begin. So let's see where Claude's at. Claude's still processing. So now let me process the total data for the seasonal totals. So it's also talking us through where it is in this analysis. Let's go back over to ChatGPT, see where it's at. And we can see it's working its way through. There we go, seasonal profit. So we have our seasonal profit and order summary. Spring is clearly the winner here. Most of the orders that took place were in spring, totaling nearly $10,000 in profit. The next one was in fall, where we have nearly $2,500 in profit, followed next by summer at 16 or maybe close to $1,700 in profit, and then $1,300 in profit for winter. Let's notice this, folks. I think this is a great feature of ChatGPT. Notice how when I click on the row, right, the column here, we have this little part that pops up. You can ask about a specific area. Maybe if you had a piece of analysis that came in and you weren't quite sure what it meant, like this 305, you can just click on that cell and then ask a question, and you're asking it about that single piece of data. That's something unique that I've found about ChatGPT that's really, really interesting. You can also download this, right? This will come back as a CSV for you as well. You can expand it and look a little bit further if you need to. So just a couple of things I want to highlight there. Let's go check out Claude, see where it's at. Still working its way through, so it's going to reparse the data and then calculate the seasonal totals. Let me display the results in different formats. So it looks like it's done with the analysis. It now needs to just work on the actual display portion. And oops, leave that open. Give it a minute. There's another one of those little errors. I always find this is very interesting. I'm not a coder myself, but it's sure inspiring to go through and see how it's working. And there we go. There's the same layout. We see that spring is the winter, followed by fall, then summer, then winter. Our numbers look to be the same as well, but we do have some additional details that came in. We have total number of orders, and but this one, it didn't make an artifact, so you can always just ask for one. Please, and I always like to use my please and thank yous with AI, create an artifact. And it knows what an artifact is in its own context, and it will now create that. And here it is, it's building that out for us. And the key findings, some seasonal distribution, profitability insights, strategic recommendations, spring performance. So lots of, like I said, this is so much more data than what we originally asked for, which again is one of the strengths I feel that Claude has, is it tries to read between the lines and know and answer things that you might not have asked yet. And that's it. So those are the two examples we're showing, one with the detailed CSV and one with the summary CSV. And I hope this was inspiring and helpful. Let me jump on back over here. I'm going to stop the share. Seth, if you don't mind popping up the sample prompts you can try today slide. All right, so as you guys could see, once you've got the prompt formula and the knowledge documents in place, taking those deep questions like this can become easy and repeatable. You don't need to rephrase things 5 different ways. You don't need to hope that the AI just gets it. You run the formula, paste the prompt, and let the model do the work. So everything we just walked through, those live demo prompts, they are all part of the handout that you have access to. Seth, if you wouldn't mind just maybe posting that one more time so it's at the top of the chat. It will, if anybody joined us here a little bit later. So it's in a curated list of use cases, driven prompts that you can follow the exact same port formula that we just covered earlier. The goal is to help you skip that blank page moment and just plug in your own data and time frame. So the guide is broken up into a couple of different sections based on the kind of insights you're looking for. There's sales performance, product mix, customer behavior, gallery trends, and seasonal insights. Each prompt includes the CSVs that it works best with, a quick sentence or two about the business context, a suggested output format, and then a link to the matching knowledge document if you need. Now, if you're not sure where to start, just pick one of the questions from the guide and test it with your own CSV. Swap it in with your own dates or SKUs and see what you get back. This is where things really start to click, because once you see how easy it is to ask these kinds of questions, you'll start asking more of them. And the more questions you ask, the more value you unlock from the data you already own. Now, our goal with this guide isn't to turn you into a data scientist. It's to give you a shortcut into insight and let AI do the heavy lifting. In just a minute, we're going to open it up for the Q&A. But first, I want to wrap this up by sharing a few final tips, including which model to use, when, and how to turn this into a repeatable workflow you can run every month. Now, before we open things up for questions, let me leave you with a few practical tips to keep your momentum going here. The good news is that both ChatGPT and Claude can handle these CSV workflows really well, but they each have a few strengths worth keeping in mind. As we saw, ChatGPT's response time is faster. It's a bit better at combining multiple file inputs. ChatGPT lets you preload instructions for your business, and it also has image and video generations and a voice mode as well. Claude, exceptional at markdown formatting, strong contextual reasoning and deep analysis, often better at formatting grouped tables and summaries, and it takes liberties to surface insights you might not have asked, but find value in. Now, try them both. Use one that fits your brain and your goals. You can always cancel your subscription and move over to the other one, or just use it for a month and for an analysis once a year. You're not locked into these. The other thing, try and turn this into a workflow. If you want to make this part of your regular business process, here's what we recommend. Pick one day out of the month to export your latest CSVs from SmugMug. Save them with consistent naming formats like Sales Summary 2024 Q3 or January, February, right? Pair it with the right knowledge document, or drop both of them both into your AI of choice. Start with a saved prompt from your guide, or modify one to match your focus, and then copy the results into Notion, an email, Google Doc, etc. After the second or third time you do it, this whole process takes just a couple of minutes. And unlike spreadsheets, you don't need to write formulas, develop pivot tables, learn Excel tricks. You just need to ask questions, good ones, and get back better answers each time. So, final reminder, you don't need to be an analyst. You just need to know your own business and how to talk to AI like a teammate. With the CSV export, the right knowledge document, and a specific structured prompt, you're no longer guessing, you're making decisions with real clarity. So everything we covered today, examples, tools, handouts, links, they're all going to be in the follow-up email and available anytime in the SmugMug AI Help Center. We're exactly at 50 minutes to the top, so we've got about 10 minutes we can use to surface questions and talk about talk about today's presentation. Please use the Q&A feature for those questions if you have any that you would like to do. I know that Oliver and Seth might have a couple that were asked earlier on that they can surface and we can talk more widely. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to Oliver or Seth to highlight something and we'll go from there.
I've got a couple if you don't mind me going first, Seth. Sure. So one of a good question that was asked, the answer is actually no, but doesn't matter because we can fix it. Is there a custom date option for the CSV files? So the answer is no. The date range options are as Kaydin described earlier. There's this year, last year, month, quarter, day, etc. But as long as you generate a CSV file that encompasses the dates you're interested in, you can just tell the AI, please only analyze data between March 1st and July 30th. And then it will do that for you. So as long as the data you're giving it includes all of the data you're interested in, even if there's extra stuff, you can just tell it to ignore that extra stuff and it will only worry about what you're curious about.
Exactly. And I'd add one little bit to that. If you've been with us for a really long time, and let's say maybe, I don't want to say lazy, but you're just like, I'm just going to download the all-time CSV, but I really only want to learn about Q3 of 2022. But SmugMug has been around for 23 years now, and you just downloaded everything. You may want to delete or remove the stuff that's not part of your query. So you can go through and select all those rows because they do show up in the CSV in sorted by date. So, if you want to know about a specific period in time and and your data is large, remove all the stuff that's not relevant and then ask the questions about the time period that you left there. But what's Oliver said is also totally accurate. You can just be very specific about the time period that you have that question about, and it should answer correctly. Well, it should answer about that stuff. What's next?
Sure. We had another good one here. Um, it's a bit of a maybe answer, so I'll let you use your expertise, Caden. How do the AIs do with more exploratory questions, such as, based on the data you've analyzed, what business recommendations would you suggest to increase sales?
Sure. When it comes to those types of questions, what I feel is most important is the wider context. Something we didn't talk about in this, which is a feature that actually both Claude and ChatGPT have, is there's an aspect to both of those platforms called custom instructions. And that's usually in your settings panels of your wider account, right? Your ChatGPT account or your Claude account. And those fields are designed to learn and know more about you as the user. So if you plan on using these tools, exclusively for your business analysis, you would put things in there like, I am a photographer based in the Bay Area, and I serve my clients, the clients that I serve are wedding and portrait customers. And this is my experience. If you can add that wider context as to who you are, who your customers are, your best customers, maybe the software that you use, the workflows that you like to do, all of those types of things, when you ask those wider business questions, you'll be able to get much higher quality answers back. In that same vein, and this is a feature that both ChatGPT and Claude also have, which are projects. I talked about it lightly in the presentation, where a project is, you can think of it like a folder, and it's a folder, think of it like a specific use case folder. And using ChatGPT as the example, you would create this project, and let's call it, business uh, business consultant, right? And within that, you have a section of that folder that you would put instructions in, custom instructions, same kind of stuff I just talked about, but it's more uh, granular to just a folder rather than your entire account. And then you can also add knowledge documents into that. So, for example, if you wanted to do this monthly or quarterly and run an analysis, you would take the knowledge documents that we provided today and you would drop those into that project folder so that those are knowledge documents. You might also put in your business plan or again, I like including the softwares that you use, the workflows that you do. Maybe if there are styles or photographers that inspire you that you try and mimic and be more like, you would include those details, right? If there's a business strategy that you're trying to work on, or even goals, right? In my own personal ChatGPT, I have goals in there that I was like, I have a goal of trying to pay off my house as soon as possible. And so ChatGPT, whenever I'm chatting with it, if it comes up with an idea on how I can, in the context of the conversation I'm having, can help me pay off my house faster, then it'll chime in because it knows that's a goal of mine. So use those project features within both ChatGPT and Claude. Add your wider business context, and then ask those questions, and you'll get much higher quality answers. I'll also add that in my experience working with AI tools, I've never once had an AI tool tell me, I don't know. It wants to tell you something. It always does. And that's where the guessing and the hallucinations come in. And so, again, the wider the context, the more specific you can be, the guardrails you put up can really help your answers and your conversations be just more powerful and astute to the work you are doing. Because it's not going to tell you, I just don't have the knowledge about that. I don't know. It's gonna tell you something. So make sure that you give it as much information as you can so that what it tells you feels accurate and feels on point for the actual work that you're doing. So
I would agree with that. Vagary is not your friend in this. Being as specific as you can about those business insights you're trying to extract will get you better answers.
absolutely. What else do we got?
Let's see.
I'll surface what Robert just posted here. He says, when AI does not know an answer, it mostly makes up information. Be careful. I think, Kaydin, you pointed that out, right? Like, we have to understand that it's not always going to give you the exact answers. That's why those checks and balances, make sure that you, especially if you're working with some of your sales data, if you can do that math yourself and then cross-check with the AI, right, then we know that it's not what's called hallucinating, right, or making up some specific answer. So yeah, use it as a guide and a tool, but yeah, it's not, as Robert points out there, it's not always the finite answer.
No, and a good sanity check at the beginning. I think summing the profit column is a really good one because, when I work with AI, sometimes its definition of profit might be a little bit different, or it may start including some details in another thing. And it's not that it's wrong, it just thought of it differently than where we're at. And so if you can align it quickly and see that, like, in 2024, I see this number, the number you're seeing is, it might be really close, might be off by, you know, $200 or something like that. And what it might be is that it's like, oh, it's calculating it didn't notice that you have coupons. And so it's is $300 less, but that's because the coupons, when you use coupons on SmugMug, that devalues, an amount off, a percentage off coupon. Those devalue the subtotal of the order by whatever the coupon value is. And sometimes you just be like, oh no, I got this number, you got that number. Are you seeing that there's coupons in this? And then it'll be like, oh, you know what? I didn't notice the coupons. And it's like, then it will line up the profit, and it knows from that point forward in your conversation that it needs to calculate in things like coupons. Ideally, the knowledge document is going to address that. And I worked really hard with a lot of trial and error and many different processes to try to address all of those when creating those knowledge documents so that right out of the gate, it should know that coupons and shipping and other aspects of it need how it should look at those situations in relation to your profit because that's important.
I know we're coming up to the end here, but it's related to what you were just saying. A couple of folks asked questions about modifying the knowledge document. Is that something anybody really needs to do for this case?
You're all welcome to do whatever you like. Yeah, I got it as far and as detailed as I could do with lots of trial and error and getting it there. And I did many tests, but if you find that there's a specific aspect to your business or something that you would like to add or amend, please, by all means, do so. Also, these AI tools, they're coming out with new models, and whenever there's a new model, it thinks a little bit differently than a previous model. And so things might change and adapt. This whole field of AI is fluid right now. And so there's nothing set in stone. But we're with those knowledge documents, I'm hoping that it gets you as close to right and as accurate as possible without you having to do as much trial and error because I've done a lot of that already for you. What's next?
Trevor just had a good point. I think it's worth mentioning here as well. We did talk a little about this, but he's making the suggestion you can always ask the AI to help word and refine the prompt that you input.
Oh, yeah.
We had a great example of that yesterday. We were doing some prep for these, and we were getting a different response in Claude than we did in GPT, and we were wondering why. So we were able to refine our prompt that way. So yeah, great point. Utilize it again as a tool, as a conversation piece, right? As your teammate that you're asking, bouncing questions off, using it as a springboard, and it will help with that as well. So thanks for pointing that out, Trevor.
And just to add a little more context to that, it's not that GPT and Claude were getting them wrong. It was
Yeah, different.
it was different because they were both looking at the original prompt on the second one that we did. I just said by the seasons. I was vague, right? And we talk about being vague and how that's not always good. I in the original version, I was saying just break down the profit by season, and ChatGPT thought summer, winter, and fall and spring was a little bit different than Claude. So the months were off ever so slightly. So when we compared the two, the numbers were different. The total for the year turned out to be the same, but the months were different. So that's why in our example, when we processed it here, you saw that that prompt was a little bit longer because we learned that we need to be more specific in the actual prompt itself and define what we consider, summer, winter, fall, and spring. So that's just a little wider context to the story. They both got them correct, but they were thinking of the seasons ever so slightly different, which I found interesting. What's next? Do we have any others?
We're running up on time, so if folks do need to head out, we understand. But I've got one more good one here if you've got the time, Kaydin.
Sure.
Um, can you have AI plot a heat map of or geographic distribution of customer orders?
Great question. We had this question yesterday as well. I've personally just never worked with heat maps, but using the summary CSV, you have the locations, zips, zip codes, cities, countries, addresses. So I believe you could have it create a table that breaks it down by zip code or by city, possibly by state, and then or a chart that does that. I've never seen them make where one area is much bigger and hotter, let's say, like a heat map, because of that many more orders than in another area. But when this question was brought up yesterday, we had somebody mention that GIS, the very popular known tool for mapping analytics, is out there, and like most of these tools, they accept CSVs, right? They're tables. They all take in table data. So you may need to clean up your CSV so that the GIS tool can take it all in. There might be some fluff in there like gallery name or a folder name or links that aren't even relevant to GIS. So there might be some cleanup you need to do, but then there are other tools out there that you could probably toss that into and get a true dedicated heat map. But great question. It's funny that we got that one twice. I see Kathleen. Hey, Kathleen, good to see you. That she's asking, is it possible to get the knowledge document in a PDF? You know what? I bet you if you toss that markdown file into ChatGPT and asked it to convert it to a PDF, it would. I do that all the time with different types of files. Convert this to that, or give me this version to that version, and it'll do it. The reason I made them into markdown files is ChatGPT and Claude have both told me that as tools, they can read markdown files more accurately when they're in markdown format. I used to actually use PDFs as my knowledge documents, and they've worked fine. But for this purpose and in my research of putting this whole presentation together, markdown seemed to be the most widely accepted and makes them the happiest, makes the AIs the happiest. And we always want a happy AI. So that's why I made them in Markdown. But toss that in. Let me know how it pops out, because I bet you could take the Markdown file and turn it into a PDF, no problem.
And for folks interested in digging into those markdown files, I know it's probably an unfamiliar file type for a lot of you. On a Mac, you can open those with the text editor, and in Windows, you can open them with Notepad if you actually are interested in reading the files themselves.
Good call out, Oliver. That's a good one. Yeah, they're simple text, but the simple text is what makes it really nice for the computers to read. Cool. Well, I think we are good. We're 6 minutes over. As we said, folks, there are probably, I know that there are a bunch of questions in there that might not have got surfaced here a little more widely, that are a little more, oh, Trevor's just pointed out that PDF files also use more tokens. So that's interesting. I didn't know that. So, in the token count that we talked about, ChatGPT on the paid version having 1 million tokens available per chat, and Claude having 500,000, that using PDFs require more tokens. And that makes sense because the computer's reading it more like an image. And I know when they look at images, it's a lot more computationally heavy, whereas a markdown file is plain text. Hence why Oliver mentioned you can open it in simple text editors on your computer, because they're just characters that are lined up, whereas a PDF might be it has to use its OCR, I think is what it's called, the OCR technology, where it looks at the image and deduces what the words are on it, on the page and all of that. So good call out, Trevor. Thank you so much for that. As I was saying, I do see a bunch of questions that may not have been answered here more widely. We will follow up with those that are not answered via email, as long as you put them in the question and answer section. And so you'll be looking out for some answers from Oliver on that. Next week is when I will be sending out that wider follow-up email. So keep your eyes open. That will include the recording, I think, from today's webinar. Today went the smoothest. I think you guys would both agree. It went really smooth. So it'll be today's webinar, as well as links to the knowledge documents, and if there's anything else that I deem necessary to toss in there. So thank you everyone for being here today. We really do appreciate it. I think it went really smooth. Thank you for participating in the poll. Real quickly, just share kind of how that went out. Looks like 42% of you, which is higher than yesterday, thought that it was even better than you expected. So that means a lot to me. I think that's great. 54% of you felt as though you learned some new useful things. So I'm really happy with that. 4% of you wanted something different. I respect that, and we might follow up to learn a little bit more about that. But At 4%, I'm pretty stoked. And 0% of you have said I was hoping for something more. So that also warms my heart as well, because we put a lot of time and energy into this, and it seems like it was well received. So again, thank you for spending an hour with us here today. It means a lot. We will follow up with you next week with the recording and the extra details. And I hope everyone has a great rest of your week. Thank you. Bye-bye.